The Edmonton Oilers might be in a little tough tonight with the injury bug officially making its way through this roster. The Oilers, they're going to rely on some new faces in some different places, but they'll have to do it against a wagon of a hockey team as the Edmonton Oilers play host to the Minnesota Wild down at Rogers Place. Hello and welcome to Pre-Gaming with Bordzy, brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giant for a reason. You know the drill. I got to read the first comment of the day, and today it's from Sasky Oil Fan, who says, "Holy snikey, Kasperi, ready to go on the second line." Lance is in. He says, "I'm ready to have my heart broken tonight, but I'm also ready to be pleasantly surprised." Number one fans in, says, "Line blender night." Yeah, could see a lot of that. We are expecting with 12 forwards tonight, but who knows at this point in the year with this many injuries. Colton's in, being very flattering. He just says simply, "We love Bordzy. I love you as well." And finally, Davin, that 5-point night for Kapanen is happening. I like that. And as you see on your screens, joining me this evening, it's the Brett and Bordzy show all night long. He's gone from behind the computer to in front of the screen. Granted, you're on the screen a lot of the time, but Brett Holden joining me all night tonight for pregame and postgame. And Bert, how we doing? I see you wore your finest Hawaiian shirt for the occasion.
Yeah, I thought it's the warmest day of the year so far in Edmonton, and you're facing the tropical Minnesota Wild, and thought I'd dress up for the occasion. I thought, just feeling out the vibes, Bordzy. You're feeling out the vibes.
Oh, I like what you brought today. I like it. You got the Boosh Bomb shirt, little nationgear.ca, a little shameless plug. No free ads on this show. But you mentioned it. It's cold. It's snowy. It's the perfect night to literally bundle up on the couch and watch Edmonton Oilers hockey. All three of us, producer Pat is producing behind the scenes tonight. And I think tonight on postgame, I'm just going to have all three of us hop on and bro out because we never get to do it with my two producers and myself, the full After Dark team this evening. But as I said, all three of us decided to work from home. I'm very appreciative that I get that option to work from home. And if you don't get that option, I feel for you. I hope you drove safe out there today, and all the more reason to bundle up tonight. Don't do a thing. You order in. You don't want to be driving. You don't want to be cooking. You ain't doing shit tonight, because I know I'm not as well. But also somebody in here points out Flint Tropics. Let's get tropical. Shout out Jackie Moon. It's exactly how I assume Brett shoots his free throws. But I digress. Okay. It's going to be, it's gonna be a different. Yeah, well, hey, you always have a shoulder injury. It's going to be a different looking Edmonton Oilers roster this evening. They got injuries all over the place, man, and most notably in the top six is Zach Hyman. He is officially out this evening with an undisclosed injury. Stop me if you've heard that before. He left Tuesday's game against the Senators at the very end of the second period. He did not return. It's going to be a different look for the Oilers without Hyman. He only missed 2 games last year, 3 the year before, 6 the year before that. And as I said, the injury is undisclosed because, of course, the injury is undisclosed. We saw him take a big hit from Arbor Jacki Monday night against the Montreal Canadiens down the middle of the ice, but he still played Tuesday nights, and he left the ice after pretty innocuous play. Looked like he was just in some discomfort. We saw him leave and we went, okay, maybe it's just because the Oilers are pumping the Senators right now. Appears to be more severe than that. So Nobby said he's going to be out 4 to 7 days, which is oddly specific for one Chris Knobloch, which is good though, considering the Oilers have a 5-day break coming up next week. That's right. You're not going to see this face while hosting a show, I should say, for 5 straight days. I've also had the bye week circled for quite a while, and it couldn't come at a better time. The Oilers, they're digging into their reserves tonight, right? We just claimed Kasperi Kapanen off the waiver wire. Our boy, Drake the Snake Kajula, he's being recalled once again. He'll be on the 4th line tonight. But Brett, the injury bug has officially hit the Edmonton Oilers, and it kind of feels like we're just trying to get to Saturday night with hopefully a couple points in the pocket, and we can regroup after that.
Yeah, it's funny. I texted a group of friends that I went to college with today, and I said it's it's funny how far we've come. We went to school in 2016 and, all this stuff that we did. And tonight, as we get ready for work, because most of us, a couple of us covered actually this game as well. As we get ready for it tonight, we still get to watch Drake Kajula in an Edmonton Oilers uniform. And it does speak to the depth that Edmonton has right now. I mean, you are able to call up a guy who's been around in the NHL for a while. I mean, when he in his first year in the NHL scored a pretty important goal for the Oilers in Game 7 against the Anaheim Ducks. Did they go on to win? No. Do we really want to talk about that? Also, no. But you're also speaking to the fact that you can put Vasily Podkolzin confidently up on that top line because he's been able to all season, seemingly, with Leon Draisaitl, with a guy like Zach Hyman out. I'm really happy to see the way that this lineup is kind of configured, because we see Jeff Skinner on that second line once again as well. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will be also playing elevated minutes with the guys that are out, and you still get to have a third line who are comfortable playing with each other. With Brown, Mark, and Rico, it's not too muddy down there. So, and just the fourth line is three guys who just know what to do. They know their spots. So it speaks to their depth. I'm interested to see how this turns out, and I'm super excited to see Kasperi Kapanen tonight.
Yeah, me too. A little bit more on him later. We saw in Oilers Nation every day. I believe there's an offer on the table that if Kapanen scores in his first game, Tyler has to get a Kapanen jersey bought by mistaken Mexican, but then said he'd put some money back into charity. I don't know about the specifics of the deal, but I'm looking for Kapanen to score a goal this evening. Now, we talked injuries, and we did get a couple updates earlier today from Chris Knobloch. Pat, can we pull up the Daniel Nugent-Bowman tweet? Because he kind of summed it up pretty well here. So obviously, we know Zach Hyman going to be out 4 to 7 days, but Darnell Nurse is a possibility for Saturday. He did his interview earlier today, and looks like somebody just beat the shit out of him because his eye is all popped, blood vessels. He's got a black eye, still in good spirits. He talked about the hit with Ryan Reeves, and he said, I have to take the onus as a skater. He also said the word onus like 8 times in the interview, but I have to take the onus to keep my head up, but the opposing player has to take the onus to hit my body and not my head. He said, I got a 6'4" frame. There's a lot of body to hit, and he only made contact with my head. I thought Darnell handled it pretty well, but the other news there is Arvidsson isn't expected to play Saturday, and he isn't expected to play tonight. He's already missed 4 games. Now we know he's going to miss the next 2. And I want to point out from a tweet here, courtesy of our pal Jason Greger, because this news today comes 8 days after Nobby said that Arvidsson would be 50-50 to play on November 13th. Look at the bottom of the screen there where the date is and the time is circled on that. So I don't know what to think here. I'd say this in my brain says Zach Hyman. I don't trust that he's going to be out 4 to 7 days because I don't know what to believe with one, Chris Knobloch, and B, the Arvidsson injury is way more severe than they've let on. That explains why Kapanen was claimed off waivers, why we see Drake Kajula here again. And the Arvidsson injury is undisclosed, of course, so we can't even speculate on what it even is. He traveled with the team on their last 3-game road trip, but he didn't play a single game. It's a very weird situation going on with Victor Arvidsson right now. And Nobby, even more, said today along the lines of, if it was a playoff game, Arvidsson would be playing. Brett, I don't know who to believe, what to think about this situation, but it's very weird with Victor Arvidsson right now.
I agree. And I'm interested to see, because if I'm not mistaken, because we don't exactly know what happened with Victor Arvidsson, but if I'm not mistaken, he crashed into the boards back first. Am I not? Is that what you're kind of thinking with me? I'm curious how much of a back issue it is. And same thing, he had back surgery last year, right? So backs are tough. Backs are volatile. And when you're going into, and purely speculative, because as you mentioned, the Edmonton Oilers have been very secretive with Hyman, with nurse even. I mean, he's probably got a concussion, but either way, they've been very secretive with what each player has been dealing with. So I wouldn't be surprised, and again, this is speculatory, that it would be his back. Backs are volatile. You can sleep on it wrong, and all of a sudden you're just not quite right. And the thing with him saying if it was a playoff game he would be playing, they would just pump him full of cortisone and whatever it is in the NHL and just say, let's go, baby, get going. So I think they're being more cautious than anything. They don't want to pump him out there and go, well, now that surgery that you had is kind of shifted and all this, blah, blah, blah. Now you're out for even longer. If you can kind of maintain and exhibit and control how much he gets to miss in game 20, 21 of the season, I think you would rather that than lose him from games 35 to 72.
I like number one fan says a day-to-day injury that's now gone 8 days. If you add on till Saturday plus all the way till Friday, that's math I can't even simply do, but it's definitely not day-to-day. I laughed at Lance, said, I've had a day-to-day injury for 10 years now. I believe it. Also, you mentioned back injuries. Knock on wood, I've never hurt my back. That looks like the worst thing to have. You forget how much your back is important to everything you do. I digress. I am not a doctor. You mentioned Drake Caggiula. We're excited to see him come back. And yes, we're happy. But I am most excited to get a look at Kasperi Kapanen in an Edmonton Oilers jersey tonight. He's going to wear number 42 this evening. And there you see what he's done so far this season. 10 games with the St. Louis Blues. He's got 1 goal, averaged just over 11 minutes of ice time. Now, I don't know what to think about this one, right? Because I like the player from what I know about him. Apparently the Oilers have been interested for a while, but his last productive season, you could say, was 2022, 2023. He had 8 goals in 23 games. Then he had some injuries. I said the Oilers, they've been keeping tabs on this guy for quite a while. And Brett, tonight, Kapanen has a golden opportunity, dude, from waivers to the second line of the Edmonton Oilers, just like that. I'm sure Jeff Skinner is sitting there while his line mate and teammate now going, what the hell does a guy got to do to get a shot in the top 6? He's been waiting weeks. Kapanen wasn't even on the Edmonton Oilers, and he gets that shot, but tough times, calls for tough circumstances there. I'd also say that's this opportunity Kapanen's getting is reason number one. Kids, stay ready, always stay in shape, because you never know when it's going to come. But I like the look of this trio because RNH will be centering, Jeff Skinner on the wing. And Kapanen today gave an interview. I also don't know why I was surprised he spoke such good English. He's been in North America for an incredibly long time, but I was like, whoa, he's very westernized, I guess. But he himself said he has decent size and he thinks his best attribute is his skating, which I say, bring it on, especially you got injuries going on right now. But the Oilers in general this year, not a very fast team. I wouldn't describe them as a fast squad, and not bad to add your team at any point. So I'm curious, Brett, your thoughts on Kapanen getting a legit top 6 opportunity right out of the gates? Because as I said, I'm sure Jeff Skinner's sitting there going, what the hell?
Yeah, no kidding. First of all, I just want to go back to you saying how westernized he is. His father is Sammy Kapanen and played in the NHL, so yeah, that would also. No, I'm excited about Kasperi Kapanen. I mean, he was part of that young crew in Toronto. I think almost kind of similar to what happened in Edmonton with Jesse Puljujärvi. Don't draw your comparisons and all your pitch and forks and knives and whatever it is. But it just kind of similar where there was a core group of guys and one of them just had to kind of leave the team, and Kapanen was that guy, and he's been moving around and trying to find his way again, similar to Jesse Puljujärvi, but Puljujärvi has now kind of found a spot in Pittsburgh. He's been able to be a very solid guy for a team who's not that good, but I digress. Hopefully something similar can happen with Kapanen here. Nice. I like this. Kapanen and Hapanen. I like this. But he's shown that he's been able to play with very elite guys. I mean, he scored 20 goals when he played in Toronto. Was that 2018 or whatever it was? Yeah, sure. but he's still able to do that. You don't score 20 goals by accident in the NHL unless your name is Dominic Cahoon. So I'm excited to see what he can bring. It's almost like the shiny new toy where you're sitting here going, I can play with the world with this thing. Realistically, probably a little more limited than we should, but if he can bring speed, he's probably going to intertwine with Connor at times just by accident and be able to really showcase his speed and see if he can play with guys and be effective on this team.
I'm curious how many minutes he'll get because he's going to be in the top 6. We don't have a ton of other options. We saw there he averaged just over 11 minutes in St. Louis. I'd expect him to get a little bit more than that this evening and see
Aaron,
what he can do with it. Yes, Brett?
I want you to guess because this is a fun one. I tweeted this out and I don't think you saw it, so I'm going to throw it at you and maybe the people in the chat can guess as well. Do you know who the last player to wear number 42 was?
Anton Slepyshev.
No, but he is the second most recent. The third most recent is Ryan O'Mara, which is fantastic. This is a great history of the team. But no, we've had him on the network before and kind of recently, maybe in the summer, not necessarily O&E. I see somebody just guessed kind of it in the chat.
Lamborghini Perlini?
Yeah, there it is. Brendan Perlini. Yeah, he was the last player to wear number 42. And Doug Waite, that was actually his first number with the Edmonton Oilers, was 42. Yeah, I looked it up. Don't worry about it. I'm excited about Kasperi Kapanen.
I'm still a Slepyshev guy. Deep down, I do believe he could still make it work. You talk about Kapanen maybe getting a ride with 97 or 29 at some point tonight. Who knows? But we know to start the game who's going to be rocking with them. Because what do you do when, right, you're dealing with injury pieces all over your lineup and you got 2 more games to go before your bye week? What do I always say? You break glass in case of emergency and you throw McDry over the ice. It'll be the second game in a row Nobby rolls with McDry. And it'll be the second game in a row that Vasily Podkolzin rides shotgun on the top line with both superstars. Now, we all love Pods, man. He's become a fan favorite in this city, which is crazy for a guy who has yet to score a goal, but he may not have produced yet, but you straight up cannot take this dude out of the top 6 right now. That trio was fantastic on Tuesday night. They had 8 points between the 3 of them. We had former Edmonton Oiler, not a big deal, Tyler Ennis on the Oilers Nation Everyday show earlier today. And he said a player like Pods is the perfect addition to that line. And you use it in spurts here and there. But the recipe, bang bodies, retrieve pucks, go to net. To keep it simple. And I know it could be a bigger question because it was debated in the chat today. I understand the bigger picture thing of you're not going to win with McDry in the playoffs. So in the playoffs, you're going to have them separated. So why would you do something like that in the regular season? And yes, I understand that in spurts, especially dealing with the injury bug, the way the Oilers are, you take whatever you can offensively and you throw it at the wall. And as I said earlier, you just try and get to Saturday with a couple points in your pocket, score goals however you can, and ideally regroup again next Friday against the Utah Hockey Club when ideally you have a healthy roster. Your thoughts tonight going McDry?
I'm fine with it. Even going back, you mentioned Tyler Ennis. You also had Jeff Merrick on ONE today, and Jeff Merrick mentioned how it's every coach's security blanket. And as it should be. I mean, you'd be stupid to sit here and go, "Oh, I have 2 pancakes and a load of crap." Well, I think I'm going to go with a load of crap.
Give me the crap, Brett.
Crap for 200, please, Alex. You have to be able to, and again, like this, you know that I'm not very much a McDry guy and keeping them together. But when you're struggling to score goals and when one of the guys in like last place in expected goals for per 60 for the Minnesota Wild would actually kind of be a productive guy on your team, you know that there's probably something going on with putting the puck in the back of the net. So what's the best option for you to try and get the puck in the back of the net? Well, maybe go nuclear and add McDry together. So I'm fine with it. Vasily Podkolzin adds a whole nother layer to that line. You know what McDry, you know what McDavid, you know what Draisaitl are going to bring. That is elite type of hockey. What do they kind of lack? Edge in the small parts of the game, the harsh parts of the game. And that's what Vasily Podkolzin has shown that he can exceed in. He goes into those board battles and wins board battles. Then it's on his stick, off his stick, gives it to somebody who can make a play, and he goes and finds open ice. He is the exact type of player that needs to play with Connor and Leon separately or together. It doesn't matter. And that's why you've seen not only him play with Leon on that second line, but once they go nuclear with Leon and McDavid, it's Podkolzin who gets the pull up because he has that with Leon, and Leon really likes playing with them because of the stuff that he does. And oh wow, he gets to go do it with the most dynamic player in the world. So yes, he doesn't have a goal yet, but it will come. That's not the only thing that happens in hockey. It just is. Aaron, let me ask you: is there a goal on every shift?
No.
Oh, wild! It's almost like it's not lacrosse. So if there are a lot more that goes into hockey and a shift and the way what you bring to a game. It's not necessarily what you just bring to the score sheet, and that's why you've seen Podkolzin get the acceleration in the lineup that he's had.
And right, you've seen through the Edmonton Oilers history, Patrick Maroon was a staple on Connor's wing for doing exactly those things. We've seen this before with the squad. Also, Pegas, that's a name. It said, can we say Pods is a steal? Yes, we can say Pods is a steal because he has been arguably the brightest surprise of the Edmonton Oilers season so far. Ty Emerson also up there. Talked about the Wild. They're a very good hockey team. They're red hot this season. 12-3-3 record. Fourth in the NHL in points. You ready for the scary part? They're 8-1-2 on the road this season. I don't get it. And they're doing it on the back of one Kirill Kaprizov, who is second in the NHL in points right now, behind only Nathan McKinnon. And while looking at the rest of their roster, you might not think it is the scariest thing. They get the job done defensively because they are allowing the least amount of goals in the entire NHL. And that's whether it's team structure or a red-hot goaltender in Philip Gustafsson, who the Oilers won't have to play this evening. We caught some good luck there. But as I said, they rank number one in goals allowed at 2.33 per game. They're also top 10 in goals for at 3.39. That's a pretty good strategy to win some hockey games. And for a team that finished 10th in the West last year, this is a pretty damn good surprise. They are the Minnesota Wild, not the Minnesota Mild, as our boy Liam Horriban always calls them. So the Edmonton Oilers will be in tough this evening. Before we get into our need to know, I want to plug a little holiday cheer, people, because it's ho, 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 holiday alert, Oilers Nation citizens. Get ready to crank up the cheer and deck yourself out in the ultimate fan style. This season, rock around the rink with the exclusive Oilers Nation holiday sweater, decked out in true Oilers Nation style. This sweater has got everything you need to slay your style all season long. Don't wait. Make it an Oilers Nation holiday this year. And of course, go to www.nationgear.ca. Use the promo code Bordzy10. Get yourself 10% off this bad boy or any of our other awesome products we got out there. I know our boy Patrick Puff behind the scenes is wearing this other article of clothing. So let's shout it out in support of Jasper Minor Hockey for the love of the game. All proceeds from this, sold on nationgear.ca, will go to help out Jasper Minor Hockey, the Bears, because this season's going to bring unique challenges. Their rink's out of commission. They're playing every game on the road. They're going to practice with the most limited of facilities that there is. We all got to pull together. It's a holiday season. The businesses in Jasper would usually help out financially with something like this, but they themselves are trying to pull their socks back up. So we're going to do our part, help out. Go to nationgear.ca. And now, one more ad read, courtesy of Wilhock Beef Jerky, for our need to know information. Only the finest tasting meat products earn that Wilhock name, made from 100% pure Alberta beef. Their jerky is aged, seasoned, smoked, and marinated to savory perfection. For more info, go to willhawkbeefjerky.com. So, need to know quickly, Kasperi Kapanen, he's inside the top 6 there. Zach Hyman, he is going to be out for an expected 4 to 7 days. We'll see about that one. Chris Knobloch, Drake Kajula, he's recalled. He'll be on the 4th line with Derek Ryan and one Corey Perry. While Josh Brown was sent back, and then he was recalled back up again today. I expect the Oilers are going 12-6 this evening, but keep it locked on Twitter. They should be keep it locked on X. Wow, I haven't done that in a while. Damn, I'm even typing in X these days. We expect the Oilers going 12-6. Ekholm and Bush on the D pairings. Kulak and Troy Stetcher, ? It's going to be the 3rd pairing of Travis Dermott and Ty Emerson. Not sure how I feel about that one. More on that a little bit later. Now, earmuffs for Oilers moneyline bettors, okay? The Wild are 8-2 straight up against the Edmonton Oilers in their last 10 games. They're 17-7 in the Connor McDavid era, including a 8-4 record at Rogers Place. Woof. Okay, Brett, you can take your earmuffs off now. There you go. You didn't hear any of that. Finally, Stuart Skinner will get the start this evening. He was great on Tuesday against Ottawa. Stopped 27 of 29 for a .931 save percentage. That could have looked even better had he not allowed that final high stick. I'm going to say it was a high stick goal, but I digress. We won the game. You'd think I'd get over it by now. The Minnesota Wild, their side of the need to know, currently, as I said, 4th in all of the NHL in points. Impressive 12-3-3 record. And this is crazy. They're still doing it despite $14 million in dead cap because of Zach Parise and one Ryan Suter, which is just nuts. Kirill Kaprizov tearing it up. 13 goals, 20 assists, 33 points in 18 games. That's nuts. 2nd in points, 4th in goals. The impressive part, he's done this with only 2 power play goals. So he's getting it done 5v5. He is dangerous every time he's going to be on the ice. Hopefully we can use some last change to our advantage. Pat, can you pull up the tail of the tape between the two teams? As you could probably expect, a lot of yellow on one side, and it's not the Edmonton Oilers. Their power play for the Wild ranks 13th in the NHL, dead even, 20% clip, 1 of every 5. Their PK, though, ranks only 24th at 76.2%. I would still beg for numbers like that. They're going to be without Mats Zuccarello. Again, tonight, he's out week to week, I think like 3 to 4 weeks, and he was a huge part of that top line with Kaprizov and Marco Rossi. He had 14 points in 16 games, but he ain't going to be out there tonight. And then finally in the crease, it's Marc-Andre Fleury getting the start this evening. He will retire at the end of the season, so he's doing his retirement tour. Now, despite his limited usage this year, he still has good numbers. He's 3-0-1, only 4 starts. He's got a 2.70 goals against and a .904 save percentage. Good numbers. Want to know where he's got great numbers? In his career against the Oilers, 16-6-1 with a .922 save percentage and a .239 goals against average. Woof. Hopefully some of that magic ran out and his old bones, because he hasn't played that much this season, but we'll have some more on him later in our starting goaltender report. Want to get to my storyline now, brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giant. Tired of dealership hassles? Well, Sherwood Ford and Sherwood Park is all about convenience and upfront pricing. With their Giant Deal program, get clear, no-nonsense pricing on new and used Fords online with all incentives included. Plus, enjoy the ease of mobile service, free pickup and delivery, and same-day or next-day service appointments. Now, if you looked outside, there is snow everywhere right now. If you do not have your winter tires on, you can get it done at Sherwood Ford. They'll swap them for you, regardless of whether you have a Ford or not. Also, Brett, our boy Waz changed over his tires yesterday morning. Good timing for our boy Waz, eh?
Oh, my God, yeah. No, we looked outside today and saw the immediate white, and I went, I don't think I'm going in the office today. And then you said, let's do the show from home today. And I said, say less. I'm here. Yeah, that is a smart man right there. And Yeah, as many people here should today, because it was bad outside, man.
Dude, it was. And of course, you got Thursday night football, you got Oilers hockey.
Yeah.
It's a double TV kind of night. Gonna hunker down in the basement, 265s. We do it right over here at the Bordato household. So, my storyline tonight, though, it is all about how are the Oilers going to handle these injuries because they have been bitten by the bug, right? No Hyman, no Arvidsson, no Darnell Nurse. And this game comes against a wagon of a hockey team in the Minnesota Wild right now. Kasperi Kapanen, he'll play his first game, getting that top 6 opportunity. What can he do with it being a new face? We said he's going to be leaned on, probably have more time on ice than he has at any point this season. Jeff Skinner, he gets a consecutive game in the top 6. He's out of the doghouse. I don't know if Nobby wanted to do that, but he is out of it by the lack of other wingers on this roster. Nuge, he scored his second goal of the season on Tuesday. Can he turn that into a hot streak? Can Brownmark featuring Rico chip in offensively and kind of pick up some of that slack that, I mean, we're going to be heavily dependent on McDry tonight. And get this stat. If you take away the 23 goals scored by Connor and Leon this season, the rest of the roster is producing 1.6 goals per game. That is tough. That is not going to do it. That is 2 players compared to everybody else is doing 1.6. So we need to see more production from the rest of the roster. We have all season with our healthy wingers, and now we're on spare parts here, and we're going to need to see them step up. But as I always say, a hungry dog runs faster. So I'm looking for Kapanen to step up tonight. Somebody to step up. Brett, do you have a storyline or do you agree with that one?
Mine is kind of similar. It probably is the same thing, but just different. Mine is stepping up, being able to step up. There are a lot of positions that people need to fill. There are a lot of people who are in spots that aren't used to the spots that they're being in, and especially defensively. I know we talk about Podkolzin being top 6 and Kapanen being on the or top line, excuse me, and Kapanen being on the second line and all this stuff. But for me, especially, it's that the back end here. I really like what Emberson has been bringing, and you mentioned it at the start of the show, or before we even started the deal pairing with Brett Kulak. I really like what Kulak has done, and to be able to pair him with Emberson would be exactly what I wanted. But where the way I see Kulak with Stetcher is just much more of Brett Kulak's going to be carrying Troy Stetcher in this. Troy Stetcher, we know he's a wiry guy. Like the way he skates, the way the way he dips to the front of the net. I don't think Emberson's able to carry a guy like Dermott, or if it's Josh Brown tonight as well. We don't exactly know yet, but I don't think he's able to carry one of those two. And Travis Dermott isn't going to be the guy they keep in the lineup over Ty Emberson right now. So I'm not big on the way that the lines or the defensive pairings have been set out. So with my storyline, it's y'all need to step up. Y'all need to be able to, and I know there's a lot of people talking about with Darnell out, and you need to spread out the wealth with Ekholm and Bush and this and that. No, like this is the time. This is the perfect time for your players in depth to step up. This is the time for you to be able to show why you're an NHLer, why you're Josh Brown and signed 3 years, $1 million, baby. Why I'm laughing all the way to the damn bank. This is your time to show you why, show everybody why, and your coaches that will end up giving you more time on the ice, why you should be on the ice, why you should be that second line winger, why Kasperi Kapanen can go and take a look at St. Louis and go, yeah, y'all got Dylan Holloway, but they got Kasperi Kapanen, baby. Like, you need to be able to go out there and play for kind of not only the name on the front of the jersey, but the name on the back a little bit as well. Go show you're who you are. You're the player who you are, and why you are where you're at, if that makes sense. I said a lot of R's and where's and who's and what's and 316. So, but I've tonight is the night where you need to prove why you're in the spot that you're in tonight.
Yeah, I believe in Lance says it best here. Channing Tatum is going to learn. He loves to dance. Step up. They went on a date to Step Up 2. I'll never forget the Sherwood Park movie theater. I got the kiss. I got the kiss in the movie theater. But you mentioned the deep pairings there, and I think everything you said is totally accurate. I don't understand the decision. It'll always be in Nobby we trust, but Ty Emberson. It's not a knock against Troy Stetcher, right? Because I do like him as a player. It's just what Ty Emberson has shown so far this year. To me, he has earned top 4 minutes, and he is the best bet besides your Ekholm, Bush, and Kulak to munch minutes all night long. As I said, you only have 2 more games before you get to rest up for 5 days. I would have thought the strategy would be 20 minutes apiece for the top 4, and Dermott and Stetcher, you guys get your just over 10 minutes kind of thing. But it's in Nobby we trust. I just love what I'm seeing from Ty Emerson. He's so smart and calculated and doesn't panic. All of a sudden, he's added this physicality to his game, and when you put him next to Brett Kulak, you are so confident in the both of them to make a correct play and just cleanly go glass and out. If that's what it's going to take and you don't need to make that beautiful tape-to-tape stretch pass, they'll take those plays, and I worry about Troy Stetcher's ability to do that. But hey, I still believe in the guy. Pat, let's take a look here at the projected Edmonton Oilers roster this evening. I saw they just did confirm it online on Twitter. So pull it up here. We've got top line this evening. 1, Vasily Podkolzin with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. We're getting nuclear, baby. Second line, Jeff Skinner with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And the new guy, Kasperi Kapanen, who, if we turn that jersey around there, it would say number 42. So that's who you're looking to watch tonight. Third line, Brown Mark featuring Rico. Fourth line, the Drake, the Snake, Kajula with Derek Ryan and Corey Perry. Then it's Ekholm and Bush, Kulak with Troy Stetcher, like we said, and Travis Dermott with one Ty Emerson. So I want to talk about that second line, though, because I don't know. It excites me. It's 3 guys who you see need to get going. Earlier, I said to you, I feel like Nuge, Kapanen, and Skinner are kind of like 3 misfit toys right now, because Jeff Skinner, he's finally out of the doghouse, but he's yet to produce in that top 6 spot. Nuge scored his second of the season, but it's just that. It was his second goal of the season. He has 9 points in 20 games. And 24 hours ago, Kasperi Kapanen was getting ready to play AHL hockey. Excuse me, I'm not familiar with the St. Louis AHL team, so I don't know them off by name. I'm curious about this trio, if they can trap lightning in a bottle here and find it for tonight and again on the weekend, because I like the speed that Kapanen brings to this trio. As Jeff Skinner, we know, isn't the most fleet of foot at this point in his career, but all 3 of these dudes have scored 20-plus goals before. They have all played with real talent and produced before. And if this line can get going right now, it provides a huge spark to the rest of the lineup. You're not going to be crazy dependent on Connor and Leon to drag this team into the fight. Now, I am banking on that with Bordzy's bankroll a little bit later on tonight, but maybe if the Nuge line can get a goal in, if they can have some good offensive zone time shifts, that Connor and Leon don't have to put on their Superman capes this evening. I'm excited by the trio because by name value, Brett, those 3 have more than enough talent for that second line.
Yeah, and you already mentioned as well with the fact that these 3 have already scored 20 goals in the NHL before. And has it happened once for Kasperi Kapanen? Yes. Again, have I mentioned, was it back in 2018? Also, yes. But again, it's difficult to score in this league. Jeff Skinner has also done it his entire career, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is quietly one of the smartest players in the NHL. I think every team needs a line kind of like this, where you kind of mentioned the misfits, the guys who aren't quite good enough for that top line or haven't been able to figure it out on that top line with Connor or Leon, and isn't quite the prototype or isn't bad, quote unquote, enough to be in the bottom 6 or be kind of a role guy. You see a lot of those types of lines on cup winning or cup running type of teams. And I'm interested to see how this one could go. This is very much a being optimistic type of person. You have to be realistic in the way that Kasperi Kapanen was on waivers 24 hours ago or however long it was. Jeff Skinner has been playing not only bottom 6 minutes, but fourth line minutes. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been taken off that top line since the 10th game of the season and doesn't seem like he's going to be reaching it again anytime soon. So these are guys that have something to prove, but these are also guys that have been struggling in their own ways. So realistically, I think we should be tapered a little bit, but we can also take a look at the fact that these are also three really good hockey players and three guys who are exciting in their own way. And I think if you can put their games together and utilize them properly, I think it'll be a pretty interesting misfit line for the Oilers.
All I know is I'm going to be sitting up my chair every time I see that line take the ice. Also, late breaking news. We talked about Josh Brown being sent down, being recalled. Well, he's going to play in his third straight game because Travis Dermott is dealing with an illness. So Josh Brown in on that third pairing with who we expect to be one Ty Emerson. This team always keeps you on your toes, always keeps you thinking. So this actually leads my next and final point here about the Edmonton Oilers. Special teams, making special plays, being special, brother. Because the PK has now killed off 12 consecutive penalties in a row. Are you shitting me, brother? I wouldn't have believed this at all to start the season. We're up to 68.6% on the season. Hallelujah, brother. They're 30th in the NHL. Let that climb continue. But can they keep it rolling again tonight? I mentioned the Wild. They have a solid power play, and that's going to lead to me before. Josh Brown had been on that PK the last couple of games. He's a very physical guy. We talked about he's got that simple Vinny style game. He's a big body. He's physical. Don't let him play the puck all that much, but he can used to block shots, get in lanes, and clear the front of the net. So it looks like the Oilers lately, the PK's bought into the structure. They look like the team in the playoffs, committed to blocking shots, committed to clearing the front of the net. They look good. Only other one I had. So no Zach Hyman this evening. Oilers power play obviously going to look a bit different. Corey Perry gets that top spot. Would you have made any other decisions? I would not. I think it is the most obvious plug and play decision in the world. Corey Perry is right-handed. He lives in the blue paint. Thank you, Pat, for throwing up what they look like this evening. Natural fit, right-handed, great in front of the net, solid hands, can play with Connor and Leon. Would you have wanted to see anybody else in that spot? Because I wouldn't have.
I can't lie, and I can't say this very loud because it might piss a lot of people off, but I think Corey Perry should get more time on that top unit power play. That's exactly what he's built his entire career on. And yes, Zach Hyman is doing exactly that. And I don't say to take him off because Zach Hyman isn't very good at what he does and isn't able to do that. But the reason why you're keeping guys like Leon and Nuge and Connor and Bush out there for basically the whole 2 minutes is because they are able to do that. They are elite enough type of players to go out and play those full 2 minutes. I mean, 1, 2, 3 first overall picks. Oh, and that guy also went in the top 10. Interesting. Corey Perry, very limited in what he can still do, but what he can still do is be kind of a prick in front of the net. And that's what I think is what Edmonton is kind of lacking on that power play. They're very stationary. We've talked about that's been the word of the week for the last however long. They are stationary and they are perimeter. Okay, so what can you do? You can cause a little stuff in front of the net, let them do their thing around the perimeter and cause a little disturbance. Oh, well, now the interior defenseman's kind of looking over. Okay, I'm going to take this guy. Oh, that's Leon's office. Whoopsies. Oh, okay, yeah. It's and then if he misses, it's right there for Corey Perry and he can start putting it away. Again, I'm not trying to advocate for Zach Hyman to get less minutes on the power play. What I'm advocating for is let's kind of utilize what Corey Perry is actually quite good at and was able to make an entire career upon. I'm, again, not saying that once one minute hits, let's toss out Perry, but maybe for a couple seconds for possession, switch it out, see what you get. And hey, if it works, it works.
You know why I love you, Brett? Because that was the best long-winded answer of yes, Aaron, I agree. Let's move along. The starting goaltender report brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports Marine. Hit the trails this winter and the waves next summer. As fellow hockey fans, the team at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine are helping Oilers Nation fans gear up. They're home of an ATV for just $50 bi-weekly, or cruise the open water in a boat for as low as $105 bi-weekly. Sherwood Power Sports and Marine are hockey fans helping hockey fans get ready for their next adventure with motorcycles, quads, e-bikes, and boats. Pat, let's pull it up, the tail of the tape between the two goaltenders this evening, Stuart Skinner and one Marc-Andre Fleury. You see Fleury, only 4 appearances, solid numbers, 2.7 goals against, .904 save percentage. Stu, that's an improvement because he had a .931 on Tuesday night. Stu, he's actually 3-0-1 in his last 4 games, despite what we may all think and everybody with their magnifying glasses. Now, the last game against Ottawa was his first game above 900, and I think 4 straight. Say what you want, he's been winning hockey games lately. This discussion is so drawn out. I think we're going to get good Stu tonight. We pray we get good Stu tonight. On the other side, it is one Marc-Andre Fleury. Brett, I'm just going to ask you because the discussion's been online a lot recently. It's just because there's not a lot of goaltenders to pick from. I don't know if you know. Does Marc-Andre Fleury make Team Canada's 4 nations roster? Everybody in the chat, throw me your 3 Canadian goalies, because you can ask this guy, he'll give you 3. You can ask this person, he'll give you 3, because there's no solidified top dogs, solid answers. Like Cam Talbot is, I think, the best statistical Canadian goalie right now. And we love the dad bod. We do. But, Brett, who would be your 3? And is Marc-Andre Fleury one of them?
You know what? Honestly, my 3, I would start off with Mark Vizentine, followed by Justin Pogge. What?
Bad memories. Bad Brett. That guy blew it in the 3rd period.
Yeah, no, that was kind of the start of the decline of Canadian goaltenders, which can lead into our conversation right now. Marc-Andre Fleury would be on my Team Canada team, and not as the starter, not necessarily as the second guy either. He's on my team as the 3rd guy. This is a short tournament. This isn't anything like too strenuous. The 3rd goalie's only there in case your starting goalie goes down injured and your second one gets shot or something like that. You need a guy who has won before, who has been on the international stage, and is basically a locker room guy. You're not going to risk putting a locker room guy in your forwards that you need every night, and your defensemen that you need every night. But a guy who's sitting in the press box every night, you can have a locker room guy. I have Marc-Andre Fleury on my team. He's number 3. Number 1, you know what? I'm not going to label them. I'm just going to say them because I think that's just innocuous if I do. I am putting Logan Thompson on this team. I think he's been relatively good for relatively long, enough for him to be on this team. And it's a toss-up for me. I think Binnington would be all right, but I agree that he isn't even the best Canadian goalie on his team right now. But again, it comes down to pedigree. He's been able to do it for Canada, and yeah, ice in the veins. He's a really good playoff performer when he has to. So yeah, I don't know. For now, I'd put Binnington, but I think it's either Binnington or Talbot for me.
I think I'm Binnington, Talbot, and I don't hate Marc-Andre Fleury, but I'm going to be a homer. I do it every day on this show. Stuart Skinner, come on, baby. I still believe. Let's go now to the Greta Bar-Yeg away team lineup, brought to you by Greta Bar-Yeg, because that's where Oilers Nation loves to watch the game, home and away. It's a great spot for pre and post game. We're going to be there all season long for our viewing parties. Check out the great street food menu, games in the arcade, weekly drink specials, and come on now. I'm a trustworthy guy. Trust me, Greta is where you want to be for weekday, weekend, it really does not matter. So let's pull it up here. Projected roster for the Minnesota Wild tonight. Top line, Kirill Kaprizov with Joel Eriksson-Ek and Matt Boldy. Second line, Marcus Johansson with Marco Rossi and Ryan Hartman. Third line, Marcus Foligno with Freddie Gaudreau and Yakov Trenin. Then the fourth line is Jacob Lauko with Marat Kushnatinov, I think is what I'm going to go with there. And I know how to say the next name on the fourth line because it's Devin Shore, baby. He's back at Rogers Place. I know Liam's excited. And on the decor, it's going to be Jacob Middleton with Brock Faber, Jonas Brodin with Jared Spurgeon, Declan Chisholm with Zach Bogosian. We only got a couple minutes here left. We still got to squeeze in bets. You look at this team, you look at the other 97 on the other side of the ice because Kaprizov is having a monster season so far. Since the start of the 22-23 season, he's sixth in points per game, only behind McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon, Kucherov, Panarin. Notice Austin Matthews isn't on that list. I mentioned he's second in points this year, but get this. The Wild are 10th in goals per game. He is factored in on 54% of the Minnesota Wild goals this season. Insane stuff from an insane player. Oilers obviously going to have to keep an eye on him every time he's on the ice. I'd also say Matt Boldy. He's sneaky good, not only because he's on my fantasy team and was a great pickup this season. Great draft pick, I should say. Brett, go quickly here. I know you're a Brock Faber guy. He's got great numbers this year. He averages 24.55 a night. Who's your player to watch? Then we'll talk bets.
Player to watch, of course. I can't believe you're giving it to me. It's Joel Eriksson-Ek, Oiler killer. And on that line with kind of next generation Oiler killer, Matt Boldy, because he seems to score all the time against the Oilers. I think it's got to be Joel Eriksson-Ek. I can't believe you didn't mention him at all. And hey, Devin scored. The revenge game of Devin scored, baby.
True, revenge game narrative. And Brett, I lobbed that one up to you for Joel Eriksson-Ek. Mine would be Matt Boldy through and through. I just love this guy's game. And we've always said Kaprizov was like the most underrated player in the NHL because he plays in Minnesota. But now with his point production, you can't say that anymore. I feel like Matt Boldy is entering that underrated conversation. Let's go now to Bordzy's Bankroll, brought to you by Bet365 because they're a proud partner of Pre-Gaming with Bordzy. Open an account today and bet on a huge range of markets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today and use the code NATION. That spells nation. And you get some sweet, sweet perks. So you see the options right here, Brett. This is the first time you've seen this. Mm-hmm. So first one, I couldn't decide who I wanted to get 3 shots between Nuge and Skinner. So I said, why don't I just go for both to get 2 and I won't be disappointed. So we're going Nuge over 1.5, parlayed with Skinner over 1.5. That's just a nice, cool -120 because I believe in those guys. They also weren't offering Kasperi Kapanen props at the moment. Second one, Leon Draisaitl to get 2+ points. He has 25 career points in 23 games against Mini, so not at a 2-point pace. But you're going McDry, you're going nuclear. I'm going to bet on him. And Connor to get 2 points was -140. So obviously I'm going to take the other guy with a plus. And then it leads to the other one. I didn't have the balls to do a goal scorer, but it's Podzilla to get 1+ point. He's currently +150. He had 2 apples in the last game. I like what I'm seeing from that top line. And I don't know, we saw it, Brett, after it was the first McDavid goal when Pod skated into celebration. You saw Draisaitl. I will mouth the words, but wait up and go, Pods. And it was a pretty good moment. You see that they're a fan of him, and I think they're going to want to see him get on the score sheet, ideally with a goal. I just don't have the balls to do it, but I did parlay all 4 of these together. Oof. A nice, cool, even +800. I feel pretty good about it. Do so responsibly. Looking at you people at home there, because you only want to bet what you're willing to lose. We do this for fun, and hopefully we can profit later tonight on Oilersnation After Dark. Brett, 2 questions. Yep. 1, which bet do you like the most? And 2, people in the chat today on ONE were asking me if you were crafting up another spider this evening. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, first of all, first of these bets that I like pods. I'm a big pods guy here, and I had been looking for a way to integrate pods into a potential spider. Spoiler alert, there is one. But I couldn't find a way just on some of the other things that I sprinkled on. So, but I think that's a very smart way to go. Just double checking now that I said that. Yes. Okay, good. But yes, Bordzy, I do have an not abbreviated spider, but as Pat eloquently put it before we started, a spider that just got out of the trap. So there's only 7 legs to this one, but I, of course, am taking the Oilers for the money line. I like, and you know what's sad? This is kind of Minnesota heavy, so forgive me, but I know. I have Faber over half a point, and yeah, Eriksson Ek with over half a goal. Yeah, thank you. Skin dog, no skin dog, over 2.5 shots. I committed to the skin dog over 2.5 shots. I took that one. Middleton, a good old Berta boy, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, Middleton. Oh, okay, cool. I'll
Sure.
the door. Over 2.5 block shots. Now that I found out what block shots means, baby. So I'm taking Middleton. And to wrap it all up, I'm going with the Skin Daddy over 24.5 saves. Because I went the under last time because it was 27.5 over this time for 24.5.
Now you do so responsibly if you're going to do a spider like Brett always does. And on Tuesday, you were just 1 leg missing. So maybe you should have done a 7-legger right there. So hopefully we're talking about a victory later this evening. I see Uncle Nade, also spelled Uncle Weird, says, I think pod is the best bet. Mm-hmm. I agree. And there's a good amount of juice there, right? Just to get 1+ point with the 2 best players on planet Earth. It's a little crazy to me. Now get them in there. Oh, we're at 6:59 right now. So let's close it right there. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in this evening. We'll be live right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube. Myself, Brett, right there, producer Pat, I think, going to join us as well. And I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Sherwood Ford, the Giant for a reason. Sherwood Power Sports and Marine for the starting goaltender report. Greta Bar Yeg for the away lineup. Bet365. Willock Beef Jerky. And finally, it's a game day, baby, so you know what that means. It's time for a Nation Beer Everyday Lager. Crack open a couple of one of these. They're tall boys. They're 473 milliliters. 2 of them will have you feeling perfect throughout a hockey game. I've got it down. 2-way science right now. Go check them out, Odd Company. 2 locations in Edmonton or liquorconnect.com as well. And Pat, I totally forgot to mention, so we'll close it out here with a final message from our friends at Sherwood Ford, the Giants. A message from our boy David with a couple game notes to get you right before the Oilers play host to the Minnesota Wild. I love you all. Throw down your courtesy like. You can enjoy this message on your way out, and then get in the chat all game long because Brett and I, we're ideally be talking about bets that were victorious this evening and the Edmonton Oilers. Good luck out there, everybody. Peace out.
Howdy, folks. It's game day. This is Bert coming to you from Bert's Bus. Just want you to know the Edmonton Oilers are 2-7 in their last 9 games against the Minnesota Wild.
After struggling early in the year, the Oilers' penalty kill has not been scored on in 12 attempts.
The Oilers have picked up at least a point in 4 straight Stuart Skinner starts.
Sherwood Ford, the Giant for a reason, baby. All right, I love you all. Catch you right here after the game. Good luck.